Hi everyone, this is Lena and today I want to break down one of the most important Russian paintings for you. The name of the painting is The Morning of the Rifleman Execution by Vasily Surikov. It perfectly depicts the events that we talked about in episode 1 of Romanov Dynasty Explained series. The painting was finished more than a century after the actual event and was first exhibited in 1881, a big year for Russia. So let's dive in and see what this painting is about. Before we actually begin, a few words about the author. Surikov was born in the mid-1800s in Siberia, a region that is very different from the rest of the country today, and back then, when no railroads yet connected it to the main cities, it was even more different. At some point, he came to St. Petersburg to study in the Academy of Fine Arts, and later he moved to Moscow. This mixed environment he grew up in, remote Siberia that didn't evolve since the times before Peter the Great, modern St. Petersburg with its western-oriented valleys, and Moscow, full of old-fashioned buildings, has reflected in his style. Once, walking down the Moscow streets, Surikov started having flashbacks to his time in Siberia, and then he started thinking about all the history that unfolded here. And he came up with an idea of depicting some major events, something that almost no one did before him. The execution of Rifleman by Peter the Great on the Red Square was a big event in the Russian history, and it was Surikov who depicted it for us to help us learn our history better. The painting was made in the late 1800s, a difficult time for Russia, as farmers and peasants were rioting all over the country and radical revolutionaries were fanning the flames. This all led to the famous terrorist attack of March 1st, 1881, that took the life of the Emperor Alexander II, and when we get to his period in our Romanov Dynasty Explained playlist, we'll talk about it all in more detail. Depending on the historic period, professional historians would have different opinions about riflemen and the role they played in Russian history. In the year 1872, when Russia celebrated 200 years since Peter the Great's birth, historians were portraying them as the bad guys. This painting exploded like a bomb. All the artists around would portray Peter as your perfect ruler who had no flaws, and Surikov was the first one to raise the question of why the decisions of one man who held all the power was such a tragedy for the people. In the morning of the rifleman execution, we see the final minutes before the execution other than the execution itself. Surikov said once, "He who saw an execution will never portray it." So the artist doesn't show us bodies, not the blood, not the pain, but the main idea was to show us the feelings that every character was experiencing at that moment and how solemn that moment was. Overcast day in the fall. Puddles and mud covered the Red Square surface. In the background we can see the dark St. Basil's Cathedral. Big crowd surrounds the rifleman. Friends and family came to say their last goodbyes. Gallows and crows make the moment more solemn as they bring our attention back to the event, the execution of political opposition. Lots of tears all over the place. Right across, we can see Peter's soldiers, the boyars, and the foreigners. Peter himself on horseback is overlooking the scene, making sure everything goes as planned. Two major political groups are depicted here. They clashed. One, the rifleman, representing the old Russia, had lost. The other, Peter and his regiments, reformations, and technical progress had won. The crowd, though, is the main protagonist here. Every single person is unique in this painting. Each has his or her own unique facial expression. They all experience this moment differently. At the same time, the crowd doesn't break into individual characters, but we can see that they all are experiencing and sharing the same event, the same moment. The realistic genre that the painting was painted in allowed the artist to have more than one compositional cornerstone, each being a single independent stage of the same event. Each convex is an independent compositional center, drawing other characters towards him. Inside these compositional groups, the artist portrays different personalities. Rifleman's friends and family are in despair and in pain, while the convicts are focused on their own thoughts. This makes the impression that they are stronger than what's happening to them, and this brings the solemnity that Surikov talked about into the story. As we have said, each group depicts a different stage of the convicts' final moments before the execution. Look at the candles in the hands of each of the riflemen. They indicate how much time before being executed they have left. The candle is either just lit, burning, or being thrown on the ground. To see the sequence, we have to read the painting from left to right. On the left, we can see one of the riflemen lying in the cart, quietly looking at the candle flame. No people around him. He's the last in line. A little to the right in the cart, we can see a red-haired man with his wife and his mother next to him. His piercing look is directed at Peter. We'll talk about this man in a short while. The soldiers have not yet come for him. They are busy with the black-bearded man to the right of him, his wife trying to help him take off his jacket. He's holding his candle tight, like he would hold a spear. The man with the gray hair next to this guy is even closer to being executed. A young lady and a boy are crying, grieving over him. The soldier has already taken the candle away from the man. Further to the right is the man hurried away by a soldier, but before he gets out of the cart they brought him in, he stands up and bows to the crowd and to the life itself in the last goodbye. Even further to the right we can see a man who has already got out of the cart. They have already undressed him. His clothes as well as his candle are laying on the ground, abandoned by everyone. The soldiers of Peter's Preobrazhensky Transfiguration Regiment are escorting him to the gallows. His wife and son are crying. Lastly, in the foreground we can see the lonely wife of one of the riflemen sitting on the ground, head in her hands, holding the cold candle next to her face together with her executed husband's clothes. We can see the dynamic is different around the figure of Peter. Soldiers are more active around the emperor. The rifleman and his part of the painting are much closer to their last moment on this earth compared to the characters on the left part of the painting. People on the left are still standing strong. Yes, their time is over, but they are still fighting. The red-haired man is ultimate representation of this rebellious spirit. He's burning Peter with his eyes, but Peter is not holding back and answers with an annihilating look. Riflemen were Peter's worst enemy since his early days. They helped his sister Sophia in her fight for power. They represented the old Russia that didn't want the change, that was a stranger to the rest of the world and that had to vanish from the face of the earth. This red-haired guy didn't give up easily. His foot is in bandages, hands tightly tied behind his back. He was tortured when they interrogated him, and still he didn't fold. This only got him more angry. Look at the red-colored rifleman's hat on his head. He's the only one who didn't take it off neither before the Tsar nor God. However, he's still holding his candle, a symbol of repentance and a prayer. He totally believes in his cause, and this fuels his hate for his enemies, and his eyes are directed at the biggest of them all, Tsar Peter. What was great about the artist is that he didn't only show all the drama, but he was able to portray people as historians believe they were. For example, in soldiers' faces we don't see any hate or other emotions. They are on duty and they're serving their emperor well. However, we can still see the compassion on their faces and that they feel bad for the convicts. The colors in this painting are as dark as the event itself. The overcast sky, the misty morning help create this gloomy feeling of what's about to happen. The painting was released on March 1st, 1881, the day the radicals killed Emperor Alexander II, and was a talk of the town for a pretty long time, as once again Russia was about to experience a sudden change, and this painting had resonated with everyone. After this painting, the artist went on to continue with Peter the Great's period, and Prince Menshikov in Exile was Surikov's attempt to contemplate on the end of Peter's rule. If you want to learn more about this painting, click here. And to learn about the end of Peter's rule and the events that followed, click here. Thank you for your interest in Russian art and Russian culture. Please don't hesitate to ask us anything Russia related in comments. Click subscribe to help our channel grow and follow us on other social media platforms to make the most of your Russian experience. See you soon!